Hello and welcome to Dell's Gaming. I'm Dell and this is From the Depths campaign once more. And I've got it in pause mode at the moment. I'll explain a little bit more in a second. But I've started to spawn in some of the drone ships that we designed, or I designed, last episode. And I want to go through assigning drones to the ship, but the different ways it can be done, and my preferred way of setting drones up on a ship. Now, one of the reasons we're in a pause mode here, rather than going through and just letting it go through normally, is on our relationships, under victory conditions, we're very close to the 2-hour mark. It's because I take a long time to build things and we had to rebuild this ship, etc. It's taken time to get to this position, which normally if you worked with the starter vessel at the beginning, starter fort, you might not have this problem, but I decided not to, so therefore I have used time up. What this means is that at the 2-hour mark the Deepwater Guard will declare war on us and basically, I guess, attack us. So that's going to be our key point at the moment, our key battle point. So if I just take it off of, oh dear, bit of a graphical glitch there. Let's see if we can get rid of that. No, okay, that's to be annoying. Let me just spawn it out. Oh, okay. Before I could do that, here we go. Squatters. Well, look at you, all cozy there. I'm not going to read that. I'm sure you can read that. Basically, Deepwater Guard, and they're pirates, and they're accusing us of squatting. We're not squatters, we're not invaders, we're liberators. We're going to liberate the people under the Deepwater Guard from the shackles of the Deepwater Guard, because the Deepwater Guard's all metal and wood shackles. Our shackles are nice and comfortable to wear. So war has been declared, so if I go to the map, I'm just going to spawn that out and then put it back in again, see if that will help it. Bear with me one second. So, quickly looking at the map now, we have a force coming in from the Deepwater Guard, and it seems to be a Wander and a Hoplite, which are, I think they are coming into us. Yep, that looks about right. So they are quite powerful, but large airships from memory. So they are going to be who we need to. Now their speed is 6 meters a second, so it will take them a little while to get here, which means we can possibly finish off the last bits of building before we need to defend against them. Now typically, yes, it's suddenly gone night time, which is never good, but let's take it off pause and let this continue building. Hopefully, yep, there we go. Right, so what we'll just have a quick chat about is creating drone vehicles that are connected to the ship. Now this is based upon one particular block, which is here, which is, if I put the sub-vehicle spawner. Now I've got the view back on, and we can see what the words are. The sub-vehicle spawner. Now what this does when we place this down, which hopefully I will be able to in a short while, if I place it just there, is you can select a vehicle. Now so you can see a lot of these are taken, and we've got the DNA laser rib, which is the ship over here. But you'll notice that this cannon ship is not in the list. That's not in this list, and that is because the ship, to be selectable by this sub-spawner, must be part of your fleet. And if I go into come out of build mode and go into here, you'll see that the cannon solo is actually in its own fleet. So the first thing we have to do is merge these two fleets. Now it is part of the main fleet. If we go back to the normal and back into build mode. So if I go to here, I can now select it as a potential starting vehicle. Now, other options we get is how far away will the vehicle spawn. Now, there is a nice little green marker, so you can make sure that your vehicles don't suddenly drop into existence on top of each other by modifying that marker. You can also change the angle. So if you wanted them to be at an angle, we could change that. And if we go back to our green marker, you'll notice the angle is now pointing in a particular direction. Now for this moment, we'll set it at 45 degrees, which is, I think, similar to what we've got on the other side. I just want to check something. As you can see, I've got them lined up on the other side, and we'll go through that in a second. So once we have selected the vehicle, it doesn't immediately jump to this point. That will be where, when you spawn your building in, where it will be placed. And I'll show that by, if we go into the map, come out of this mode, select the vessel, and now take it out of the game. You'll notice everything except the one cannon vessel, which we haven't done anything with yet, is there. Now if we put it back into the game, flagship, spawn it in, it did actually jump back to there. Let's just take that off, just as a, because obviously, and try that one more time, because that showed you what happens when you actually do have them linked to the docking station, which was the next stage. So let's try that one more time. So we take the mothership out of play, everything's in, put it back in play, and you'll notice that is where the ship is dropped, effectively, where it starts the game. And unfortunately it has turned itself over, which is not a good start for the vessel. And maybe that's going to be a bit of a problem with those vessels, but we shall see. So my next suggestion is to use the docking positions. So if we take one of those and put it here, now what we can do is we can select our vessel. We're going to make it 45 meters away. Now we're going to again change the azimuth to 45 degrees. 45. We'll just set some of these, because these set how far away it will. There we go. How far away it will spawn. So it's on exactly the same spot, and they're ready to go to be pulled in. Now, what happens now is when we spawn it in, it will jump to that position and stay there. I'll show that one more time. So now, if we go out of play, back into play, you'll notice they all jumped. They were spawned in and then jumped to the right position. Also means we can nicely line them up. Now we'll just do the last ship we have here. So one more ship just here. So this time it will be the laser rib, and we're going to spawn it out about 60 at an angle of, say, 30 degrees, I think. Let's just see if that's gonna. We've got to make sure it's not gonna. Yeah, it's not gonna interfere. And then we're gonna make this the same. Out at 60. At about 30 degrees. We set these so that it will come in from a far distance away, quite straight at this item. So where's that laser 3? There. Select this vehicle. So that should move away, then come back into this position here automatically. Now, I have to keep an eye on these cannon ships. They may need a little modification if they're going to turn over as soon as they go into the water. These ships are a little unstable. There we go. So that's now in position. So now when they get released, they will move off. Now, there is one other way of doing drones, and that is drones which get built as they are required using the spawner. Subspawners. Now, the other good thing about using subspawners, these vehicle blueprint spawner blocks, like this, is that the ship, when it's built, is automatically added to the fleet of the ship that contains the spawner, which means we haven't got to worry about merging fleets and all of that type of malarkey. It just works straight away. Let me just check the map for a second. Well, it looks like the enemy fleet are quite close now, and I don't want them to get too close before we get a chance to attack. So, I think that my priority is going to be... we've got to take out the Wander and the Hoplite before we can look at any more. So, this is going to be our first battle. Great. Good. Now, I might try and bring in, say, one more. It's a pity I didn't manage to get in a couple of other vessels, the Monitor and also another little ship that I built. We'll see if we can do those next. But we'll see if we can get in another, possibly, I think the laser rib. So, we'll just build that using this here. If I take it off of that mode, go into here, we select the laser rib, how far away we want it to get built, and how long. Now, I like to set this to 100% so that it will build the ship and release it only when it sits fully built. So that's going to build there, hopefully in time for the battle as well. Okay, let's now go and start this battle. So we're going to start the battle. There we go. Now you'll notice all of our drone ships do not appear on this list because they are part of the flagship. So effectively everything is part of the flagship. So it means it just counts it as one vehicle. Now, one thing I'm not 100% certain of at this moment, the way it works, is are the drone ships block count included in the mothership? The previous version I'd played had a problem with that, in that they weren't, which was a way of bypassing the block limits in some way, because you could have a small ship spawn drone bigger ships. But anyway, at this time, this looks good. We will basically bring everything in, let our laser rib get built, hopefully, and that can come in once it is able to. We'll let this battle commence, I think, and let's see how it goes. So our first battle against the Deepwater Guard, and we'll see what it's like against the Wander and the Hoplite. Right, not on any weapons. So all of our ships have now released themselves, and we seem to have damaged ourselves with the first set of missiles for some reason. But hey ho, that's obviously the way some of these cannons etc. are working. And we've already got a 2 damage. Let's go and have a look at what we've got over here. So I think it's the Hoplite possibly got taken out straight away by a couple of the missiles, which is good. Now here's the Wander. Oh, is it going to be a run backwards because it's too big? That's a big cram cannon it's got there. But some of our laser missiles are coming in, which is good. Oh yes, that looks very nice. Looks very nice. I like the laser missiles because they don't get distracted quite so easily. Here's another volley coming in. Oh yes, yes. Very nice, thank you very much. Very nice, very nice. And yes. Well, that wasn't too bad. I was expecting or worried about having something a little bit more challenging. I know in the past there's been godly ships, and here we go. Like, all of our ships are now coming back to base, which is good. I just want to spawn in that rib so that it starts building. So all of our ships come back to base, to their docking positions, except for that one for some reason, which is very annoying. This one, for some reason, despite me selecting it multiple times, it seems to not save it between saves, which is a little annoying. But okay, it's back this time, so they'll be automatically recalled back to their positions and start building, which is good. Now we do need to go and collect up those resources which are up there, so possibly that's going to need a nice vessel to go and do that for us. And I don't know, might be able to use the rib because there's 300 material there, so we'll see if that's going to allow us to come back. We'll use this rib as a non-spawned vehicle at the moment. Now, while I've got this moment, I'll show the other responsive way to create vehicles, which is to spawn them as you need them. But and that is to use the sub-vehicle spawner and then a control block. So if we may have some problems whilst this is building. We might find that I haven't got many blocks, but we'll still go through the process anyway. So let's say we wanted to spawn it behind us. So we'll put the sub-vehicle spawner just here. When I get a chance to, we're going to have to just wait for this one to build, or I'll turn it off for the moment. If I turn off that there, that'll stop it using up all the resources, which means we're now gathering resources again, once again, which is good. Just wait for it to build up enough resources for the blocks we need. There we go. So we've got some vehicle spawner, which we will put just we'll put it just there. We'll be fine. So the first thing we set on the vehicle spawner is obviously the distance we want it away, and again, how much do we hold the vehicle. The next part is going to be selecting the vehicle. So I know this is under my naval folder, so we have to go under the folder names. So I have a folder called naval, and then we put in the name we want. So let's say we want the laser rib, the DN underscore laser rib, and you can see it's gone to a tick mark. Tick mark means yes, I understand it. If you spell it wrong in any way, it's an X, so you know you've selected something which is correct. The next is spawns to reserve. Now that is how many at any one time that it will have spawned in. So if we set that to 1 and then max lifetime spawns. Now this is limited to 10. I really wish this was either a higher number or there was an option for unlimited. Now this means in total how many will this spawn in ever, until you delete this block and add it back in again, and that's the annoying part. So here we're going to have 10. Now once a vehicle has been spawned in, we can delete the block or destroy the vehicle and get all the resources back, so the resources aren't effectively lost. Right, now how to control this. Now the way I do it, or there is a number of ways of doing it, but basically first of all you need a control block, and I'm going to face it the other way for reasons that will become apparent in a minute. So we put a control block in there, And one simple way is to say, when the enemy is within a certain range, say 5,000 meters, then we only want it close to this. So we're 1, 2, 3. So let's say a range of 4 would make sure we get it. Quick little delay, just so it's not straight away. There is an option which is constructible spawners, spawn default vehicle. Now what that means is, as soon as an enemy comes in range, it will start to spawn the vehicle in. Now that's fine if you've got a anti-everything vehicle, but what if we had a vehicle which was, let's say in this case, only against aircraft? So the way I would do it is, new object, we put a one-axis turret facing downwards. There we go. And on that turret we put a little, doesn't really matter what it is, it could be a wooden, just a 2-block beam. There. And we also need a missile controller. And that will become a little bit more apparent in a second. So okay, now what this means is, oh sorry, haven't finished yet. Then we need to control this using an AI local weapon controller connected here, and finally a transmitter connected to our mainframe. Now we can set much more variables which are more suitable, or got more choices. So we could say, right, okay, only bother doing this when the enemy is, say, 2,000 up to, yeah, say 5,000 meters, or no limit. So don't start building things if enemies are very close. You know, the enemy we're against, because then it's too late. Right, this air vehicles, minimum altitude. So here we could say only things which are flying. So let's say it's got to be above 25 meters. And block sizes, so only large vehicles. So if it's a small flyer, we're not too worried. It's only to be, we only want the extra vehicle if it's a big vehicle. Yeah, so there, that will work, that should work. Then finally, for the control block, the reason I faced it that way is we're now going to change it from enemy range to activate if no object in front within 2 meters. So I always make sure I've got 2 blocks in front of it free, is air gap, effectively. And basically, because I've pointed this down, the first thing, as soon as something comes into play, this is going to turn. It's going to turn left, right, whatever direction. But it's going to turn away from the straight down position. If in this case, you might want to put it sideways, so it's pointing in that direction. So by default, it will tend to turn to the left. You also want to be the opposite direction. So for instance, for air vehicles, I've got it pointing down. If I was going for sea vehicles, I'd point it up, so it's more likely to go straight down, if that makes sense. Your starting position for your turret needs to be as far away as possible from where the enemy you're detecting is. So anyway, that would pull in a laser rib automatically next time one comes into range. And we could do the same for sea vehicles, subs, anything you want in there. You could set things, some small drones, massive drones against little ships. So change that block count feature. Or you could choose something which is only against very large, or only when in close range. Yeah, there's quite a few possibilities you could do. Now, these vehicles don't appear as drones. So in this menu, you see all of the ships we've pulled in so far are all showing as drone. They won't come in as drone, but they will come in as part of the fleet. Oh, our ship's is wandered off, and I didn't even notice. That's not good. Why is that? That's because I sent the wrong vehicle. I didn't mean you to go there. I want you to... this ship to go out there. No, it's not going to let me because it's part of the fleet. Okay, that's not going to work. We'll have to work on something on there. Let's let our base come back to here, please. I don't want you all the way over there, thank you. That was a bit of an oops, because it's obviously as well stopped pulling in materials, which is not what I wanted happening. Okay, we will just put that last rib in here. There we go. So it will get repaired, hopefully. Come on, are you? Yes, you are. Yes, good, good, good. I think I'll have to point you in the opposite direction. There we go. Make sure you're not done it. Oh, you're done a... Okay, so it's not going to interfere with each other. We've got enough ships now. Okay, so next stage. We've got some resources to pick up there, just 300. Still got to defend ourselves. So what I'm thinking at this moment is I need another ship to go raiding these deep water guard areas up the top. Scout them out, get rid of any enemy. Also need our radar to be a little bit bigger, which I'm just going to increase the size of the one on our system. So I'm thinking maybe we could use the monitor with a couple of these starter ribs to go into this area as a little attack force. And I'm just going to pull out these particular areas before we start building our next mega ship. So I've got a few vehicles that I can try, and I will spawn in, and then we will see what we can do as far as attacking the enemy. So that may take a little while to do, to spawn in all of those vehicles, because we've obviously got to get all the resources. But yeah, I think maybe the monitor, 2 laser ribs and a cannon rib. We'll spawn those in and then go a little bit, we will go a raiding. Back in a little while. And before we can get our little ships built up, the Deepwater Guard are once again sending a little flying ship against us. So what we might do is just let our ribs take those on whilst this is still building. Now I thought of one problem before I go too far down this road, is that these ships rely a lot upon the mothership providing ammo, electricity and resources for building, repairing, etc. The Monitor, that's a good name for it actually, but the Monitor does have some fuel engines on it for producing electricity, so it can give power to the others, but it's still, detection wise, it's not quite got great detection abilities, and most of these don't have trackers, so we could have some problems in that regard. So I might need to find a better mothership for these to be taken out with. So we'll have a think about that, or I need to modify the Monitor to be a bit more of a mothership for our vessel. But at the moment we're going to have a go at taking on the Atlas. It's far enough away. I like to keep the battle at range, so we will start the battle, and I need to take it off pause. There we go. That's good. Now what we will bring in This isn't going to be too bad. We'll just bring in the flagship. The others, I don't think we need to bring that particular fleet in. Let's see. Oh no, what we want to do is we want to bring that fleet in and not bring that fleet in. There's no point in bringing them in there because they're not built yet. So we'll just bring in our normal fleet and let them defend the environment. So begin the battle. Let's see how this works with at distance. For some reason he likes to shoot people at the very beginning. Those the cannons, and they are having a bit of a problem navigating around our ship, which is a bit of a problem. So we'll put the Mulberry into combat mode, see if that will make him go towards it. Now the other ones seem to have, again they are having a bit of a argument, and that one has just been turned over. Oh, thank you, Mr. Cannon, you are annoying. I'm gonna have to, I don't know, he's just got blown up, possibly by a missile, his own missiles. So let's see if I can pull him back onto here to right him again. So where's the one that's upside down? That one there. Select this vehicle on. There we go. That's just enough to get it to pull it back the right way up. Okay, let's see how the battle is going now. So we've got, our missiles have already taken the Atlas out of the sky. So the Atlas has got a bit of a rebuild. Is that a cram cannon? Yeah, still cram cannon on the front. Used to have some auto cannons. What else has it got on here now? Is it just cram cannons? Is that an advanced? No, it's a cram cannon. So it's still just a couple of cram cannons and a lot of wood. Or would they put some large cannons on the detection? That's obviously a vulnerability. The main vulnerability is it can't actually bloody fly. Oh, is that our cannon coming in? Yes, our cannonade is coming in with the auto cannons and its normal large cannon barrage. That's nice to see. Is it going to be effective? It's trying. Come on, we want a cannon. We want a broadside. Come on, give us a broadside. It's your chance to shine with your auto cannons and your large cannons. Oh, there we go. Broadside, and they miss. Another broadside. I think some of those hit that time, which is good. It's slowly peppering it down to nothing. So the autocannons do work. It's quite surprising, actually. I think the large cannons, these large simple cannons, would be good in massed volley. I'd need a whole lot more of them, though. The 4 that's on this, the cannon rib, is not quite enough. It's interesting, but not really effective. If I had a couple of hundred of them, different matter. But how are the others doing? So we've got some more turned up. So okay, they seem to be turning themselves upside down is their biggest problem, which is not good. And some of these, why are they? They've obviously had their AI taken out. But this situation is not helping. Not helping at all. And it's obviously a big vulnerability for these ships. Let's see if I can right them all. Well, let's not worry about it for the moment. It is a big vulnerability. We've won the battle, but and that was mainly the cannon rib. So the cannon rib did work in that regard, but it caused more hassle with these ships turning upside down. So we're going to have to possibly find a solution to the upside down problem. But that's another quick little battle won. No resources from that one. Maybe the ships actually collected it all. So a couple of little problems to be overcome, and I'm going to call it on that one. We'll let these rebuild themselves, hopefully. We need our main vessel to get back into the area. Let's put you back onto fleet mode. There we go. That should take you back into the zone, which is good. And that means you'll start to pull in resources and be able to repair everything again. So what I now need to think about is mothership. A small ship, smallish, which can go into the other zones with a few drones, or maybe the monitor, or the monitor, and basically it provides electricity, ammo and resources. So it's going to have a bit of capacity for those type of things. It's also then going to be a little bit offensive. I say a little bit offensive. It's not to be rude or anything, it's just going to have some weaponry to be able to obviously defend itself at the same time. We'll have to have a thought about that, see what is the best situation. We'll let these rebuild up. I'm thinking at the moment what we need, we've got the monitors, is maybe a frigate. Now I have got one frigate design already, which I can use as a basis. I might change it a little bit, so I'll take the hull of the basic frigates that I already have and maybe just rework some of the weapons and make it a little bit more less droney and a little bit more offensive, or a little bit more mothershipy. That starting rib out there still has not connected to here. Starting rib, come here. Don't know why that one just does not remember, and I don't know why. I might just get rid of it. I think it's annoying, or it's going to be just starting. I think I'll send them out as part of the new fleet, maybe. We'll see. He's starting to get on my nerves, the starting rib. But anyway, and also the other bit I need to look at is these ships turning each other over and flipping themselves. I can see what's happening is the skirts of one gets under the other and flips it up. So I need a self-righting mechanism. Maybe but however stupid it may sound, a balloon on the top, which if the ship is turned over, activates and then deactivates once it's back upright again. That might do it. We'll have a bit of a test of that in the designer, I think, for next episode. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, or any comments down below. It's the first battle, we won. No godly designs yet, which I'm disappointed. I want to see some godly designs. I want to see all of these great ships that the Deepwater have guard and all of the makers have made for these ships, and hopefully we'll see some of those soon. But at least I survived. It's a good start. Until next time, keep playing and have fun.